going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Saturday. Welcome back to the channel. If we have a look at what's going on, it's a beautiful green day today. Now, Bitcoin had a phenomenal day yesterday. Altcoins weren't really feeling the love. Today, looks like they're finally catching back up to Bitcoin, so this is good. We could take a breather because we were a little bit worried yesterday about the altcoin apocalypse with everything going on with Binance. However, I do have a little bit more of bad news today. This time, it involves Bittrex and U.S. citizens. Again, we're going to get into that. Also want to talk about some interesting stuff that came out with Wright. Looks like he could be in some serious trouble, but I think the biggest question that everybody wants to know is, are we going to see a $9,000 Bitcoin by the end of this weekend? So we're going to get into all of that today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If it's your first time and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day. Also, for those of you that are subscribed, definitely turn on the bell notification so you can get these updates right away. And as usual, let's dive in. But first, I do have a little bit of something I want to bring up. Some people are mentioning that there's this Ledger Nano S support number. It is some type of a scam that's going around. I tried Googling it. It didn't show up for me. Maybe the guys took it down or they got caught. But basically, look, you can see right here, it's cryptophonesupport.com/wallet/ledger. If you come over here to Ledger's actual support on their website, right here, you can see Ledger does not provide phone support. Okay, so this is a scam. Do not call this number and definitely don't give them your 24 words. All right, just wanted to throw that out before we move on because safety is very important in this space, especially if you are new. Now let's give this a quick refresh live. Okay, so it looks like we actually really haven't done much. We're down about $1 billion and Bitcoin dominance pulled down a little bit. So, are these altcoins feeling the love? Well, we have Nash. You know what's funny? I was going to mention this yesterday, that with all of this that's happening with US, I was going to say Nash is probably due for a pump because they're actually trying to be regulated. They are regulated securities, exchange and everything. So not surprised at all to see Nash pumping. We also have Knowles up as well. By the way, Knowles also came out and recently said that they will be compliant for US-based exchanges as well. That was something else. So I think you're seeing that sort of like a trend. KuCoin shares, Santamin, Zcoin, Chainlink, Mixin, Neo, Digibyte, GX, Decred. So we do have some altcoin gains today. Now let's hop into the charts. Guys, you know what's going on. We're clearly nowhere near filling the CME gap, okay? Because that would be way down here. So we'd have to come all the way back down to $7,200 if that was to happen. Maybe that's out of the cards. Maybe we're not going to fill it. Not saying we're not going to, but right now things are looking good. We blasted through the green zone. I said if we found our way in here, that was definitely short-term bullish. And by short-term bullish, well, let's see. As soon as we broke in, Bitcoin surged another 7.6%. So that was very, very, very nice. Now, I do want to mention that on the 4-hour, we are finally above the EMA ribbon, as you can see. So this is very good. We're above all of them, starting from the 20 and moving down on. And if we take it from a different angle, I do want to note that we did have this trend line, right, that was coming down here. That was the crucial point that we blast through. Now, currently, as long as we remain above this $8,583 level and we stay here for a little bit, say we go sideways, that's very, very good. If we do fall lower, we might still get supported loosely. If you'll notice, this isn't really a proper support. The only reason I'm using this is because back here, we kind of started a trend. It had a few points of contact, but, we may not be supported by the yellow line. But if we do fall, we still do have this downwards trend. So, you might see Bitcoin sort of come down here into this region and then spring back up again. That is one possibility, but that's not what we want to hear, right? We want to hear that we're going to have a $9,000 Bitcoin by the end of this weekend, potentially. Well, looking good on the Super Guppy. Trend is your friend until the end. You guys know that is what we say all the time on this channel. But the other thing that I want to point out too is if we look at how we have this yellow right here, this is almost forming an ascending broadening wedge, somewhat like we did back here. And once we got to the end of that, well, we had a massive blast off. And as soon as we started to rally, I guess if you want to call right here, Bitcoin went 43%. We took a slight dip, and then we finally went up another, well, not another, but a total of almost 62%. So that's what happened after the first wedge. So you could kind of wonder if we get to the end of this, what'll happen. Now, obviously, we do have that resistance here. So you can kind of take that resistance, and we're sort of having another longer wedge that's playing out. This goes all the way on through the 1st of August. So we're not going to look that far into the future. But if we do stay within this zone right here, within this sort of rising wedge, then yeah, I think that's totally good for Bitcoin. And yeah, we could possibly break 9,000. I mean, we could do it this weekend, guys. All we have to do is get up to here. It's not that far. But, let's see the volume, because the volume usually does drop off on the weekend. I mean, the average volume's a little bit lower. Let me just, actually, let me take this out of here. Hold on 1 second. I am so sorry, guys. I'm doing this live, so just excuse me for 1 second. Yeah, you could see, I mean, the overall volume's a little bit lower, but that is to be expected on the weekends. But anyway, long story short, sorry you had to sit through all that. But yes, I do think that we could potentially be in this ascending, broadening wedge. And if that's the case, we may come up here and, touch this resistance, which would put us, actually, it would put us almost to $10,000. So I don't want to be the Bitcoin bull on the weekend. There's always a chance for a pullback. There's always a chance we retest some of these lower lows. There's always a chance that we close the CME futures gap. But this chart is looking really good, guys. So, yeah, anything can happen. I could put this video out and you guys know how Bitcoin land is, but that is what I wanted to say. Also, I do agree with Crypto Fib. He said, so the possible head and shoulders pattern is null and void in my opinion. The futures closed right around the 61.8 retrace. Another gap is possible, but the squeeze indicator is not giving any signal at all, which is why I really don't look too much into these head and shoulder patterns. They previously, as far as I've looked at them, when it comes to crypto, it doesn't really work out the way that it does with the traditionals, but I do want to bring up what I was talking about yesterday. My apologies. I definitely said I was very excited yesterday in yesterday's video, and I missaid something. So yesterday when we were talking about what was his name? Aaron Brown. He was saying that Bitcoin could potentially rise to 60,000 all the way to 400,000, not 40,000. I said 40,000. He says 400,000. That's a big difference. Now we're talking like hitting the market cap of gold, okay, type increase, which is crazy. Now he says that the last two rallies in 2013 and 2017 were primarily driven by retail investors. He says this is very, very different this time. And this is why he's thinking we could go as high as 400K. And it's because the current $260 billion cryptocurrency market cap is much, much, much larger than it was in 2013, only $1 billion, and then 2015, only $3 billion. I mean, a lot bigger, guys. So today there are significantly more cryptocurrency investors, and in 2018, more than 30 billion of institutional and investment capital went towards building new projects and platforms last year. It was a year of building, even though the market sucked. You could see Facebook, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Fidelity, etc. And then he says in November 2017, Bitcoin contracts traded with an implied volatility above 300%, and investors believe there was a 25% chance that Bitcoin could gain above 10,000. Currently, Bitcoin is near the same price it was around November of 2017, and the same contract sells at approximately an 85% implied volatility, which means there's a 15% chance of Bitcoin overtaking $10,000 in a month. So, long story short, what does all this mean? Well, it just means that we're probably not going to have the parabolic run-ups that we had in 2017. We're probably just going to have more of this nice accumulation where you could just see, we have a little bit of a pop, go sideways, start to rally. They got a little bit crazy up in here, and now we're starting to go up again, okay? But we're not going directly straight up. That's when things get a little bit scary, guys. That's when we get a little bit worried about what is happening, right? Now, I also want to talk about in a new interview with Quartz. So you have Jack Dorsey, and you guys know him, right, from Twitter. He says, I haven't seen any other currency that would challenge it across the dimension that I think are really important. Referring to Bitcoin, first, it's got the brand. Everybody knows Bitcoin. The other thing that he says is that it's probably the strongest candidate for being potentially a global currency, a global store of value, whatever you want to call it, is the principle behind it. And he says they are very pure. The creation of it was very pure and focused on public good rather than any other particular agenda. The fact that it's meant to be deflationary, meant to incentivize saving instead of spending, I think it's a net positive for the world and how we think about consuming, because it is a scarce resource. It is a probability of always increasing in value, which makes you consider a lot more how you spend it. Now, this is clearly just in reference to Bitcoin. A lot of people were upset yesterday. What's going to happen to the altcoins? I mean, guys, realistically speaking, in the end, isn't the whole goal just to get more Bitcoin anyway? So realistically, you just use the altcoins to get more Bitcoin. That's my goal. You may have a different goal, but that's basically how I look at it. But you know what? Hey, Bitcoin as a store of value. That might not be Satoshi's vision. Speaking of Satoshi, did you guys see Craig Wright? He was talking, I don't know, I think it was in London or something like that. He was giving a speech, and he had a little bit of a slip up yet again. yet again. So he goes, I remember reading it, probably when I wrote it. If you wrote it, you would never even word it. Like, I remember reading something back in the day, you know, in the old Bitcoin papers, well, because I wrote it. Come on, man. So anyway, we got a funny story about Craig. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but I did want to talk about Bitcoin monthly sentiment, okay? This is a little bit of an arbitrary way of measuring it, right? But you can see right here, we are doing very well. We're up to 0.116. The only other time we were higher than this was apparently in December. Yeah. Which is interesting. Consider. Oh wait, no, that's December 31st of 2018. So interesting. Let's go back actually to December 31st. Let's see where were we then? Oh, okay, so we had just started rising out of that. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So that's something I wanted to point out as well. But I know, guys, I know the bad news. Okay, so Bittrex puts this out. Effective on June 28th, certain markets will no longer be accessible to U.S. customers. Now, you can come over here and have a look. I mean, look at some of these that they have in here. So, you know, they have ADX, Power won't be available, MCO, OMG. What else do we have? Gnosis, I think, right? Yeah, Part, Wings. So look at this, just more things. Bancor Network. Wow, that's interesting. So these are just more things that are not going to be available for U.S. citizens on Bittrex. And Don Alt actually put this out, and he said, this is an altcoin exodus. If we assume these coins will all not be on Binance US either, regulation for Bittrex and Binance is the same. They'll lose the entirety of the U.S. market. These alts might not capitulate into nothingness. They might just get delisted into it, right? Now, I do want to point out right here, we do have a U.S. compliant coverage of Binance traded tokens. If you guys are interested, I'll disappear for a second and you guys can take a screenshot if you want. Just take a screenshot super fast. And, you know, these are all the ones, I guess, that'll have the coverage available. But, yeah, either way, this situation sucks. I had a feeling that something like this was eventually going to happen. I kind of thought there was going to be more bumps in the road to regulation moving forward, but this definitely sucks, guys. Also, I thought this was really funny. So, like, what is going on lately? Like, I feel like crypto went from like this like decentralized dream to like now getting delisted. US can't do this, you know, and it all started with IDEX telling you that you couldn't trade on their decentralized exchange. But look what Sarah says. So she was responding to CoinDesk, and it says, Facebook has reportedly lined up Uber, PayPal, Visa, and others to invest $10 million in the consortium governing its secretive crypto project. And she says, can't wait for a cryptocurrency with the ethics of Uber, the censorship resistance of PayPal, and the centralization of Visa, all tied together under the proven privacy of Facebook. What could possibly go wrong? So yeah, I will just stick with Bitcoin. And also, just to put it in another perspective, okay, because there's all these different ways we could talk about it. One example I like to use is, you know, there's only about 40 million millionaires in the world. So if each one of these millionaires' financial advisors said, hey, you should own one Bitcoin. Well, guess what? There's not enough, buddy. So that'll definitely push the price up and will definitely show the scarcity of it. But also, another way you could look at it is, and this is from Whale Panda, in terms of scarcity, owning one Bitcoin is equivalent to owning, it's actually closer, as he says, to 751 acres of habitable land. So think about that. Just put that in perspective. If you kind of break it down, so the equivalent of owning one Bitcoin is kind of like owning 751 acres of land. Also, to put that in perspective, I looked at it earlier to help you visualize. That's about 2,500 Olympic swimming pools, okay? About 2,500 Olympic swimming pools. You know, if you put them back to back or side to side, however, that's about the size of 751 acres. So now I know what you're saying. Not all land is created equal. You know, desert in Nevada is not exactly worth as much as like a, you know, a beachfront villa, right? But we're just, come on, take it with a grain of salt here. We're just trying to make a point. So it definitely goes to show you how scarce Bitcoin is. Now let's talk about what is going on with Craig Wright. It looks like he could be in some serious trouble. I know, I said we weren't going to talk about it anymore on the channel, but guys, you got to admit, it's entertaining. So the controversial creator of Bitcoin SV, who you know is obviously Satoshi Nakamoto, because he said so, so that's obviously why, could be facing jail. Yes, jail for fraud. So documents from a Florida court proved that Craig Wright committed perjury, as his defense contradicts an affidavit he previously submitted to an Australian court. So here's basically the summary right here. So it says that the lawsuit against him alleges that he and Dave Kleinman had mined over 1.1 million Bitcoin throughout their jointly owned company called W&K, and that after Kleinman's death, and I've heard conspiracies saying that they think he might have murdered him, which is crazy. I don't know about all that, but it says that Wright, that's a conspiracy. I'm not, don't listen to me. That's just what people were saying. But they say Wright took unlawful possession of all the Bitcoin and intellectual property of the company. So after receiving a complaint from Ira Kleinman and the Kleinman estate, Wright filed a motion with an Australian court saying he had no connections to Florida or WK. He then supported these claims with a sworn declaration stating he was never a shareholder, member, agent, employee, or representative of W&K. But most importantly, he swore under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States. And we know good old US, right? Gotta love it. Gotta love the laws over here. However, it was found that Wright submitted an affidavit to the Supreme Court of New South Wales, where he confirmed that he owned 50% of W&K Info Defense LLC, while Kleinman owned the other 50%. So, long story short, the affidavit directly contradicts sworn statements Wright had made to the court in Florida, where he asserted that he had never been a shareholder or a member of WK and that he never exercised any authority or control over the company. So, you have officially been caught in a lie, my friend. You have officially been caught in a lie. But oh my goodness. All right, we're going to move on. Well, we're not going to move on. I forgot I had this pulled up too. All right, we're not going to go into too much detail, but basically if you want, I'll drop this tweet below. So Seeking Satoshi, I don't follow this guy on Twitter, but a few people had mentioned this little kind of tweet storm he put out, and he was actually going into detail about everything that had been going on with this. So, yeah, if you want to know more about how he had been caught lying, tending fake documents to the court, et cetera, blah, 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 you can read about all of this and what the situation was and how essentially he, back in 2013, had to shop himself as Satoshi in order to lure in investors. You guys can read this. I'm not going to go into it, but if you want to know more about the backstory, that's available for you below. Also, John McAfee again, we are up. The hackers are banished to the writhing mass of nothing from which they came. What is he referring to? Well, apparently there's McAfee Magic, which has come out. It is a revolutionary trading platform where you can trade on 8 exchanges all at once. It's got trailing sell, stop loss, complete auto trade, etc., etc. Yeah, it's got some kind of subscription. I don't know. I haven't tried it out. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. It's got subscription models. If you use it, let me know. 500 currencies, 8 exchanges, 6,090 trusted users. So, yeah. And there's a frequently asked question section in here too if you want. What's the purpose? But yeah, so we'll have to see what that's about. I mean, John McAfee is proud enough to put his name on a product, so should be interesting for sure. Definitely want to hop in. Also, we do have some good news, some positive news. So we have crypto payments firm CLIC Technology said that it's collaborating with blockchain infrastructure provider and B2B platform Opportunity to develop an app-like browser extension, allowing Amazon customers to pay for items in Ether, even though Amazon doesn't actually take crypto. There's also another one too, right? It's called Moon or something like that, the Moon extension, right? I don't have it set up, but I know they had that. I think that was for Bitcoin. But anyway, long story short, this effort will be based on Plasma Cash, okay, which is a technology outlined last March by Vitalik Buterin. So Opportunity's implementation of the concept, a payment scaling solution similar to Bitcoin's Lightning Network, will bring a modern-day cryptocurrency economy one step closer to becoming a reality. So that is some excellent, excellent news, guys. And also, before we go on, I do want to remind you about the Energi earn drop, and the reason that I'm bringing this up is because it's only, oddly enough, this one's actually for US and Canadian citizens, and they're currently doing that right now. You can get free energy. I do have a link. You can use it. You get free energy, but they're going to be ending this soon. So I just wanted to remind you guys about that. And the other reason I want to bring it up too is because Energi actually has officially made it into the top 100 finally. It's ranked number 98. So I thought, why not? Today would be a good opportunity to check up on the sponsors and see how they're doing. So let's have a look. Now, they did come out with this tweet the other day, and they were talking about the Treasury payouts USD monthly value. Now, the interesting thing about this is if you have a look at this, you can actually see that the Treasury now has the highest, or not in this chart, but it does now have the highest monthly value out of anything, even if you compare it to Dash, right? So you can see right here, well, it's not in the chart, but 400,000 Energy actually goes towards the treasury monthly. If you guys didn't know that, they, at a current rate of, what is it? Well, what is it currently? Let's see. It's actually higher now. It's actually $3.87. But, you know, basically, if you look at this, this is over 1.6 million, I think that would be. So that's actually a lot. The good thing about this is, as you know, the treasury is decentralized, guys. And yes, we do have masternodes that will vote on what the funds can do. And I'm going to get into masternodes in a second because they're actually one of the most lucrative ones out there, which is interesting. I'll get into that. And this is really good because it'll definitely identify and encourage activities which are going to bring, I guess you would basically say, the absolute greatest value back to Energy. So, you know, at first I didn't really understand the concept of the treasury, but now it's actually starting to make a lot of sense. I mean, think about what you could do with this budget. It'll allow for more collaboration, more exposure, more marketing. All around, it's just going to be a good thing for them. So this does give them that advantage, right? Now, they do have a very transparent history on the treasury if you want. It tells you exactly what they're doing with it. They don't keep anything from you guys. And for everyone interested in staking, you can come over to staking rewards and you could just type in Energy. You can see right here, yearly staking yield 79.17%, monthly staking yield 6.6%. So they gave it a 74.25% staking reward score, which is pretty damn good if you guys check that out. And also for people who are interested in masternodes, you'd probably be really interested in Energy as well. I actually do hold Energy. I stake it. I don't currently have a masternode. I should look into that though, because you can see right here, ROI annually, look at that, guys, 83.54%. So that is actually pretty incredible when you actually think about it. So that's something worth noting. And another thing that I wanted to pull up really quick, obviously, as you guys could see, I had to do a cut. I tried pulling it up on Discord. I don't know what's going on with my thing today. It's just not loading properly. I'm having an issue. Oh no, I'm being banned as a US citizen from using Discord. No, probably not. But I do have a screenshot of this right here for Energy Rain. And basically this is where, I mean, like literally what it sounds like, the Energy admins just make it rain, basically in the Discord. And you can see over here, this is actually a shot of what it would look like if you were staking. So I just wanted to point that out as well. Multiple opportunities, definitely a lucrative opportunity. And the other thing really quick is I wanted to talk about some of their key updates that they've recently added to the roadmap. So for Q2, 2019, they're saying Energy Core begins working on Energy X. Now, this is going to be a zero-fee futures exchange, and they're looking to actually rival BitMEX and probably Bybit and these other guys. So it says with its primary trading pair being Energy. So this is interesting. So Energy X is a major endeavor and will be one of Energy's major focuses over the coming years. It alone can drive major demand for Energy and enormously empower Energy, both in the realm of cryptocurrency exchanges and as a cryptocurrency platform at large. There is no firm estimated release date yet, but launch is tentatively planned for Q3 of 2020. Okay, so we got some time for that, but they are developing that. And then the other thing too is they say Energy 3.0 is released Q4. So Energy rebuilt as a smart contract. We talked about this when we had Tommy on the channel, right? Adapted for Ethereum, compatible with dApps. So this is really going to take it to the next level. And it says this major update enables virtually all of Ethereum's capabilities while incorporating our treasury, masternodes, and governance systems all in one. Energy will begin adopting existing Ethereum infrastructure like my Ether wallet. I would assume my crypto as well. This upgrade also enables dApps to migrate to the Energy ecosystem. By doing so, they will benefit from Energy defense, cybersecurity, right? Our incubator and other expanding services. So that is just a quick update on everything that's happening with Energy. Pretty exciting, guys. I have to admit in the beginning, I was a little bit skeptical about this project, but it is definitely slowly growing on me over time. So let me know what you guys think about it. Thought it was a nice time to just dive in, talk about that. Yeah, so the next question is Energy going to be compliant for US citizens? I need to get Tommy and ask him about that one because I'm sure it is, right? Because they didn't have any pre-mine or anything like that, so it's definitely fair. So I would assume so, but you never know with these crazy, crazy laws. So that being said, guys, that is it for today. Tried to keep it nice and short for you guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your day, enjoy the weekend, and let's have a look. What is Bitcoin doing right now? What is Bitcoin doing? Just hanging out. Bitcoin's not doing anything. Just hanging out at around 8,626. So can we see a $9,000 Bitcoin by the end of this weekend? I actually do think it's possible. Like, why is it not possible? But at the same time, I think that some whales out there may be trying to suppress the price just a little bit before that 10K mark because, like Tom Lee said, 10K, well, that's just as good as 40K in his book, right? So, that being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. I really appreciate it. Everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting, you guys are really amazing. Don't forget to turn on the bell notification, okay?